They are affectionately known as Godzilla. This white one here is a 2000 Nissan Skyline GT-R R34, one of the most desirable cars in the entire world. And on the other side, we have a Nissan GT-R R35, one of the fastest cars to 60, one of the fastest cars around the Nürburgring. And today we're going to compare the two.
So why did you pick the GTR?
To be honest with you, it's been my dream car since forever. I think the first time I seen one of these was in Gran Turismo. And when I seen it, I'm like, what the hell is this car? And where do we get one? Found out obviously it wasn't legal for a while, and ever since then, I had a poster in my room of a Z-Tune GTR. And, you know, just looking at it, like every kid has a dream car. Never thought it was ever attainable. And one day, you know, I bought a Skyline GT-T, thinking that'd be the closest I'd get to one. And eventually, you know, I sold it. Obviously, life changes, make a little more money, and boom, I came up with the idea, proposed it to the fiance, and said, I'm buying a GTR. She wasn't too happy, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose.
For our GTR shoot, I mean, first things first, big shout out to Ryle for bringing his R34 and letting us compare it to the R35. The biggest difference between the two, I would say, is the power delivery. The R35 is monstrous. It is simply shocking how aggressively it hooks up and launches forward. It's amazing. And the R34 required a lot more finesse, and it asked the driver to be a much better driver in order to get the performance that the car is capable of, which is something that I found really interesting, and I wasn't expecting that out of the R34. It was much of a smoother power delivery. The car felt noticeably lighter, whereas the R35 has some serious presence. That's not to say it doesn't handle well, because it does. It's amazing. But you can tell that it's a big, heavy car with a monstrous amount of power and a shocking power delivery. Whereas the R34, you can feel a bit more of the heritage to it. And the R35 has definitely catapulted itself into today's modern technical revolution, and it's really cool to see the evolution. The interiors are really similar, just where the heads-up display is, and the fact that you get your boost gauge, and you know, you can adjust whether you're seeing transmission temperature and various different temperatures and torque settings and things like that on the heads-up display back in 2000.
So I could go from boost, I can have 2 gauges, whether I want to monitor turbos, I could change it up to monitor coolant temperature, exhaust temperature. There's quite a few things. It's pretty cool. From factory, they're just way ahead of their time.
But just the way the cockpit is laid out is very similar to the R35, and when they're actually parked beside each other, it is pretty remarkable how similar they are. You know, in photographs they don't look anything alike, but then when you actually see them next to each other, you can see how they've evolved and where styling cues have come from. And it was such a cool experience. Which one won? Jesus, I don't know. You wouldn't have the R35 if it wasn't for the R34, but it's pretty hard to argue against the R35. I mean, technologically, it's amazing. It's so brutally aggressive. It's amazing. But at the same time, the R34 just requires so much finesse, and it's so smooth. I honestly don't know. They're very different cars, although they're very similar. If you've got one of each, then you've definitely won.